United, I'd just like to take a moment to address the heart-wrenching situation unfolding in Israel. Look, it's a conflict that has, seen the ideologies of both Zionists and Hamas overshadow the simple aspirations of countless Jewish and Muslim individuals, who yearn to nothing but more than peace and coexistence. We condemn the actions of both sides, the perpetrators of this cycle of violence, and the people who prevent these communities from living harmoniously. At Haraami United, our very foundation is built upon the principles of unity. The Munde initiative, which sees people from Sikhs and Muslim backgrounds come together. We've had people from Christian, Hindu backgrounds, Jewish backgrounds, who talk to us daily. This community brings us together, and it's a testament to the fact that we look beyond religious labels and we find the same hearts, the same souls, yearning for connection and unity. So as we begin today's episode, let's carry this message of unity in our hearts, hoping for a world where love transcends boundaries and peace is more than just a dream. Right, now onto the show. Guys, how you doing?
Good, not bad. Just echoing your comments there. It's heart-wrenching. Yeah, let's not make it more than what it is. I think we said enough in our tweets, the shows, to try and talk about football. But what you mentioned there is 70 years too late for us to wake up, But anyway, we move. Hopefully, prayers and positive vibes are with those innocents that are getting bombed genocidically, So yeah, all good. Other than that.
Yeah, exactly. So, Riz, thanks for coming on again. Obviously, we don't need to thank you. Obviously, to your show as well. But I think we felt compelled just to have to do another podcast so soon after the last one. I don't think there's much more, there's left to said to what we've already spoken about on that podcast. But I think there was just some things that that we've heard and listened to. People talk about, and I think some things you just needed to clarify, I suppose, because I don't think people understood it the first time around.
Yeah, no worries. Look, as I said in the last show, and I'll say it again, right? There's a lot of riddle me this and riddle me that's that love to go on spaces, that love to talk about, stir a little bit of a hot spot here, stir a little bit of a hot pot there. They change the stories from one month to the next month to Sir Jim's winning to Qatar's winning to Sir Jim. These are the people you need to just call out bullshit for what it is. It's bullshit. You can't change a story that much. Yeah, drama like that doesn't exist. Yeah, in these type of deals. Yeah, it just doesn't. It doesn't sway that fast. And one of the things that I've heard a couple of people have asked me about this, there's no holdback in public limited companies. Do you know what word describes that? Bullshit. The Haraami episode, I can say that now.
You can do that, yeah.
Definitely can.
Yeah?
Definitely
Listen,
can, yeah.
Any type of
Trades
deal,
are offers.
You got a private guy buying out a public listed company. If he wants a damn holdback, he'll get a fucking damn holdback. Period. Right? Let me explain what a holdback is for some of the listeners that perhaps don't know. A holdback is, as I explained again last time, I'll explain it again. If I'm buying a business from you, Harps, yeah, and you've overvalued it, or I've got any concerns in it, right? I might have some niggly gut feelings that something's not right. I might say to you, right, Harps, you want it for $1 billion. I'll give you 800 million now. In about 6 months, I'll give you the remaining 200 million if no sort of cobwebs appear. Yeah, if everything's as good as it says, as you're saying, as you're presenting, as I've seen so far on the surface, if all of that's good, and I won't know until I'm running the business and I'm under the hood myself, I'll give you the remaining 200 then. That 200 is known as a holdback. The value is 200 million. And I've said to you, I want it for 6 months. The deal with Qatar has been a dispute on both the value and the time frame. And as I said in the last show, the time frame, Qatar said, all right, fair enough, we'll agree to your time frame. The value is still a sticking point. Yeah. Now, to address those people that says in a publicly listed company, you can't have holdbacks. Yeah, of course you can have holdbacks. Of course you can. And if you asked an M&A lawyer, and he said you can't, then maybe he needs a career change, if I'm being frankly honest with you, right? So let me give a couple of examples, right? I went back to ICD. And basically, I basically have a couple of, give me a few examples, boys. I'm not an
Yes.
investment banker myself.
So I just want to reiterate here, Riz, obviously, the following examples you're going to go and give are you've asked actually people in the profession who's doing it as their daily lives,
Bankers.
and
I
we
work
know,
for
and it's not,
ICB.
and it's not just the case you're just going to talk about. These are real life examples that anybody can go out there and go and
Anyone
look
could go out there and have a look. Anyone could go out there and have a look, right? Give your examples. One is a company called Western Digital. It's a major hard drive manufacturer, announced its intent to acquire SanDisk. Everyone knows SanDisk, those flash storage devices. Yeah, we all used to have one, the USB storage devices. There's a third party involved. In that was a Chinese company that had previously invested a certain amount in it. There's a number of uncertainties surrounding regulatory approvals, blah, blah, blah. There was a holdback in that deal that was listed on the New York Stock Exchange. Yeah. That's one example. Another one that's more recent. Yeah. Amazon buying Whole Foods. Whole Foods was listed. Amazon bought them. Amazon had a holdback in there. They're a publicly listed company. Amazon bought them. They had a holdback. Yeah. Another example.
Aren't Amazon also publicly listed as well?
Yeah.
So I think that it's important to stress that as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Another one was Arm Holdings, right? Back in 2016, Arm Holdings PLC was bought by SoftBank Group in 2016. It's basically leading semiconductor and software design company. Was publicly traded on the London Stock Exchange, this example, yeah? SoftBank, who are Japanese, I believe, acquired it in a private deal. And as part of the acquisition, there were various clauses, including a holdback. Yeah, that's another example. So there's a holdback one there. So we've talked about SanDisk. We've talked about Amazon Whole Foods. We've talked about
wasn't that Dell
Arm
Incorporated
Holdings
as well? Dell.
Sorry, Dell,
Dell
exactly.
as well.
That's the other one. Dell was bought out by Michael Dell, the original founder, in 2013. He partnered up with private equity firm Silver Lake Partners. Dell were publicly traded at the time. There
And
was
that
a
was from the
number
New
of
York
challenges.
Stock Exchanges, the New York Stock
Yeah,
Exchange with United as well.
exactly.
And
you
just
know
to
what?
confirm
If
for
you know
everyone
about
out
that
there,
deal, guys, that deal was very similar to the United one. It was very complicated. It was complicated in the sense you had a lot of last minute. The buyout was quite complex and involved like numerous negotiations, especially given involvement of sort of like several major shareholders, counter bids from other entities, and yeah, there was that's another example. So I don't know too much about the Dell one. I didn't dive too much into that one, but the other ones I've mentioned to you guys is there was holdback options in all of them. So yes, holdback can happen. Private guys buying out the shares of Glazers. He'll say to the Glazers, "Hey, you want money? You want? Let's put numbers for illustrative purposes. Yeah, let's say the club's valued at 3 billion, right? And is actually being bought out for 7 billion. Let's say Glazers shares 4 billion over the market. Yeah, massively over the market. What I'm saying to you as Glazer right now is, all right, you know what? I'll pay you over the market rate, but I'm putting a holdback in my acquisition of your shares. We're taking it private and I'm giving you a deferred payment. Yeah. Of course they can demand that. And that's what they're demanding. Yeah, simple as that. They were demanding that they will not give every penny up front. They'll give the majority, but they're going to hold on to a few bob until they've got the full ins and outs of the club sussed. It's quite as simple as that. So maybe an M&A lawyer that actually knows what he's talking about could have given you the examples that I've given you. Now, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an investment banker, but I've just given you a few examples there.
Yeah, and I think thanks for that, Riz. I think it's quite important. So for anybody who wants to jump on the back of any kind of information, and even I put down tweets, that these holdbacks and escrows do happen in public limited companies, and you've now just given us examples. So yeah, I'd encourage you to go and read and look for yourselves before making yourself look a little bit silly on public as well. So but yeah, I mean, continuing on from there, like we've said before, other people. I think after we dropped the news, literally the day after, Beckham came out again, like you were saying, Riz. Bex might be an ambassador, a bit like Brian Robson. But
there's one more example. There's one more
sorry.
really close example. Excuse me. A company called Trulia was bought out by Zillow. It's a real estate website in the US. Yeah. So Zillow acquired Trulia back in 2015. They had Holdback. Simple. Publicly listed. I think the holdback was about $1 billion or something like that. But yeah, they had a holdback. So there's examples. So typical use of holdbacks, and to say the point I'm trying to make is anyone coming on Spaces and saying, "Oh, it's definitely not allowed." Of course it is. I'm just giving you 4 examples. Go and Google them.
It can happen. It can happen.
I think what
it's not just can happen; it has happened. You know what I mean? That's the thing.
I think, Reece, what needs to happen, people need to hold back themselves a little bit first, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Do their own little researches first. But yeah, sorry, I was also saying, obviously the episode dropped a couple of days ago, and then literally the day after, we heard, you commented on Bex and saying, he won't have any meaningful impact role in the, Jassim 92 Foundation takeover at Manchester United. He might be an ambassador. And then literally, I think a few hours later, a video dropped of him basically saying that kind of thing. But then I think about an hour later. So Beckham's obviously been in the news for the last couple of days, saying that, and he's all kind of alluded to Qatar and Sheikh Jassim 92 Foundation. But then we got a story from the People. No, not the People, the Sunday People that used to be around.
But who are the People?
Yeah, I'm talking about the people from whoever let the Bloomberg know. The author of David Hellier being the journalist on that one there. He was saying that the Glazers are favouring Sir Jim Ratcliffe's deal, whereby they're going to discuss it.
Do you think David Hellier actually believes the story himself?
Honestly, no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because who was he quoting? It wasn't exclusive
The
by
People.
Bloomberg, was it?
The People.
So this was not news. Just to be clear to people, this was not an exclusive brought by Bloomberg. They was just writing.
It was more like an aggregator.
Yeah, exactly. It's more of an aggregator type. The People is quoting this, and I can tell you categorically. Look, I've said it. I said it in the last show. I said it on tweets. I said it on groups that we're part of in the Twitter community. I put my house deeds on the line that Sir Jim won't be anywhere near buying Man United. House deeds, bro. You want to compete. You want to stack up with me. Put your house deeds on the table. I put my house deeds on the table that the buyers of Manchester United is going to be Qatar. Simple. There is all of this zigzag drama. It's exactly the word drama. That's all it is. It's just pure and utter drama. The media have to make their money. The news have to make their money. The Twitteratis on Spaces that claim to be, that clearly are former, I'm going to put it, journalists, former failed journalists or experts. Yeah. Of course they want to create drama. They want to stay relevant, right? I've not wavered once since I've mentioned from the beginning what I had heard, right? And I've always maintained I'm not an ITK. I will never know ins and outs about transfers. I won't know about what's going on about Manchester United's transfer dealings, etc., etc. I don't want to. In my job, I was part of. I work very closely with the people at QIA, not for QIA, but very closely with the people there. And I heard things from them because I asked them, right? And they trust me to tell me because I worked with them for a number of years. So I'm putting my house on the line. It's Qatar's. Simple as that. Because frankly, Sir Jim cannot compete. He can't compete with Qatari money because it's the state money. It's HBJ's money. Yeah, it's HBJ's money, and they, as a family, the Al Thani family, are worth over 470 billion US dollars. 470 billion US dollars.
You're literally
And they've-
putting a country. You're literally putting a country against Sir Jim Ratcliffe.
It's not happening. It's just not happening to Sir Jim, right? So riddle me this, riddle me that. Let the riddlers riddle about. Yeah, they can riddle all they like. Come end of the day, Qatar's gonna buy it, and then you know, even when Qatar's buying it, they're gonna came up with new riddles of this happened last minute, that happened last minute, boom, 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 and off they go to their jobs in the morning, which is not related anything to do with that. And off I'll go to my job in the morning, which is very much related to this deal in terms of the people I work with. But there you go. It's Qatar. It's done. It's the duration, and the duration is no longer an issue. It's the value. And Sir Jim can't compete. Sir Jim's not been in it for many, many months. You know, it's going to irk a lot of people out there. Yeah, a lot of closet racists, if I say out there. I'll say it. It's going to irk a lot of them. But they want a British man. Yeah, a local lad. For no reason other than the fact of his race in there, because you can't sit there and you can't give me one valid reason that you yourself understand what it actually means as to why.
But how's he local when he lives in Monaco, Riz?
That's my point, right? I'm doing inverted commas, but you can't see with my fingers,
Fair enough,
like
fair
Joey
enough.
from Friends. Yeah. So my point here, boys, is simple, right? Give me one good, valid reason where Sir Jim would be better than Qatar. You can't. You can't give me one valid reason. And if you use the word sports washing, frankly, there's a whole heap of washings I can bloody list, let alone my laundry washing. Yeah, I can list a whole bunch of washings that Sir Jim's done. I can name you a whole bunch of washings that our own government does, especially with this war that's going on right now. Yeah, where it's clearly obvious that it's genocide, and it's clearly obvious that they're washing the genocidal people, right? Very, very, very obvious. What are they washing? There's washing goes on left, right, and center, right? And you talk about NDAs signed. NDAs are signed. People talk. I sign NDAs in businesses that I know that my company's acquiring, that I'm going to have to operate after they've acquired them, right? I still talk to people in the industry. Yeah, this is happening. Other people still talk to me in the industry that, yeah, this is happening. We know this is happening. NDAs are not sacrosanct. Hell, insider trading happens day in, day out, unless you can unequivocally prove it, prove that it's happened. There's nothing that can be done about it. Insider trading happens day in, day out, boys. You know that. Happens day in, day out. You don't watch, Wolf of Wall Street. That's based on true stories. They got caught. There's many that don't get caught.
Yeah, like we've said before, is I think what we have to do is bring it back to an example whereby people who listen to the podcast, especially when it's football related, you have to bring it back down to when you're not allowed to tap up players.
Yeah.
And I think we see very often that does happen. How often do we see reports coming out that a player has agreed a fee before, agreed a deal and wages, etc., before even the clubs have agreed a deal so that they can go and actually speak to the player. So, yeah, I think sometimes people are either naive or genuinely just don't understand something. And, they go by somebody who shouts the loudest. But usually the one who shouts the loudest is the one who just doesn't know as much themselves. But, yeah. That's the world we live in. But like I said, we just wanted to come on, and we really didn't want to talk about Qatar again, because again, like you said, Reece, we've maintained our stance. I think, quite frankly, people are getting bored. We're getting bored of talking about it. We're just addressing it because with all the love that everybody gave us and questions they had, which is more than, we always say, get in touch with us if you've got any questions. And I think this whole back part was the biggest question that they had. And that's why, like I says, we felt that we just had to address it just to make sure, everybody understands, because like I says, that's what we're here for. Everybody, who, doesn't quite understand, doesn't understand what's happening. But, some of us have got some knowledge of it, like you, Reese, but we're not saying that we know everything. But what we do know, we are passing it. But soon, hopefully, we'll find out more, and then we can see who's said what and when and what receipts are kept. But moving on.
Yep.
Our beloved Manchester United. I think we were going to have Tej on today as well, but I think he's kind of I think he was a bit overwhelmed from the last podcast, so I think he's having a bit of time out in Birmingham. I think you wanted to mention one or two of our players, Riz.
Yeah, I think Tej wanted to talk about Onana, but he's not here at the moment. So, look,
well, can I step in and pretend to be Tej?
Go for it.
I have a feeling I know what Tej is going to do.
Mate, I don't think anybody can pretend to be Tej, but yeah.
Well, I'll try.
You can
Tej
try
is
your
going to
best,
come on here and he's going to say that Onana's crap and we shouldn't have signed
No.
him,
Before
and he
before
can't save simple shots.
No. Before that, I really feel what did they say? For Ten Hag, I feel scared for him. Look, I don't want him to go, but I think he's going to lose his job. Yeah, go on, we'll go from there now.
By the way, guys, sorry to keep coming back here. Who uses LinkedIn?
We do.
You all use
do.
LinkedIn, right? So I'm wondering how many of our listeners use LinkedIn. Okay.
I'm sure. Look, some of them are professionals who've got a bit of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who owns LinkedIn? Who owns it? Does anyone know?
I haven't got a clue.
It's Facebook now, isn't it? Meta. Is it Meta?
No, it's Microsoft.
No.
Microsoft.
Sorry. Yeah, my bad. Sorry.
So, just for the record, LinkedIn was a public listed company. Yeah, and in 2016, Microsoft acquired them. Sorry, Auntie's just messaged me. Yeah, LinkedIn. Yeah, seriously. Right. So
we've always got time for Auntie, bro.
Yeah. Microsoft bought them in 2016, and I'm reading a quote. Microsoft agreed to a deal structure where a portion of the merger consideration was placed in an escrow account to secure certain indemnification obligations. This is essentially a mechanism similar to a holdback clause to ensure certain post-closing conditions and obligations are met. There you go.
Well, and that's live. That is, people. Rizzy just got information on that as well. So, like
from ICD, just to be completely open, directly from ICD right now, Investment Corporation of Dubai, who's got trillions. Right, not trillions, but hundreds of billions in investments in companies all around the world. But anyway, sorry to interrupt there and go back to a previous topic, but I just had to tell that one out there.
No.
There's a lot of riddling.
I mean, it was
going
another
on, right?
example, wasn't it? It was another example. So
yeah,
that
wasn't even pre-planned.
Just to calm the riddling down,
Yeah, just come and just bring it. If you look, like I says, if you don't understand something, just get in touch with us. We're always happy to help.
and that's directly.
Look, you could even use Google. Directly. Just use Google and apply some common sense. You don't have to listen to everyone you hear in a space.
Yeah,
but no, like we're saying. Sorry, go on, Afsa. You were going to try your best to be Tej.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I really feel for Ten Hag. I really, I'm scared for him. I don't want him to lose his job. I think he's lost the dressing room. Do we think he's lost the dressing room, boys? Yeah. It seems like the players aren't playing for him. They're not playing his system. They don't look fit enough or sharp enough. And then he was going to come on to Onana and he's probably going to say that we haven't signed a goalkeeper because he can't save a shot. He's not very good with his reflexes and, all of this. He'd probably throw a couple of other things in there and probably make a few comments about his sometimes the odd pass goes a bit wayward. But for years, fans wanted De Gea out. They wanted a keeper who could play with the ball at his feet. They wanted a sweeper keeper. We finally got one. And all these same fucking fans are still crying. I've seen people saying, get Dave back.
Yeah, I'm one of them, by the way.
Oh, really?
I said it in jest, though. Not in real. I didn't really mean it.
I think Riz, on a serious topic, I think obviously we were in our groups, and I think me and you definitely have our different points of view. What we do have is the love of Manchester United at heart, and we both know what's going to happen, and my faith comes from you. So, you know, again, I've never wavered of what's going to happen. It's just timing. That's what's frustrating me. I think that's frustrating you. It's frustrating us all here, frustrating the fan base, because although we believe, you know, a new dawn is arising, and it's not going to. And let's clear this, by the way. Just because Jassim 92 Foundation come tomorrow doesn't mean everything goes rosy. It will take time.
Yeah.
But I've come to the fact that I don't care who it is, who's going to be the manager, who's going to be the players, that it's just not going to work. But you're slightly a bit different to me on that. You are going in on the players. You're. I'm of the belief that once things calm down, we would get the owners and we get people from above, you know, directing us how we should be. I think some of the players who are there will get better, because I just don't think they're in that environment. But you're of a different belief.
Look,
and by the way, I think people agree with you more than what they agree with me. Go on.
Yeah, no. My point is there's certain players, in my opinion, and look, it's just an opinion, and I appreciate there's people out there that have a different opinion from me, but in my opinion, I think there's two players that have been common denominators that have caused, probably since Louis van Gaal was manager, every manager to be sacked. Not caused, have been present. One is Luke Shaw, the other one is Marcus Rashford. There's two parts of a game of a football player that makes the football player a champion, right? And I refer back to the Fergie days for this. One is your ability on the football as a football player, technical ability as a football player. There is no doubt in my mind that both Luke Shaw and Marcus Rashford are exceptional footballers. Yeah. There's then the second part, which is even more important than the first part in some respects, and that is the mental strength, the mental fitness. And if you look back to some of the Fergie teams, some of the players that played, a lot of them versus the opposition were lacking the first point I mentioned. Compared to the opposition, I mean, yeah? But they had much more than the opposition in abundance in that second point around mentality. Because I remember a time, remember when we ended Arsenal's Invincibles team record at Old Trafford? We won 2-0, right? That team, I don't think it was that game. It must have been another game. But there was a game where we had like John O'Shea playing central midfield. John O'Shea, right? He was not the most technically gifted player. Let's be honest. If we were playing Arsenal back then, if we were playing Chelsea back then, if we were playing Bayern Munich in the Champions League back then, he was not, compared to the opposition, anywhere near them in terms of technical ability. But the guy had that mental strength that Fergie demanded, right? He had a team of mini-me's. I heard Gary Neville say that Sir Alex, in the Beckham documentary, Sir Alex Ferguson built a team of mini-me's, and Fergie was strong in the mind. He had mental strength. I don't think these two players that I am mentioning have that mental strength. They have that ability, they don't have the mental strength. And for me, that's what we're lacking, right? And for me, that is what is the difference. For me, that's going to make us become a very good team to champions and consistently challenging for championships, is having enough players that have that mental power. Because, and a mental power, a visual description of what I'm saying is when your backs are against the wall and things are not going your way, the players that get stuck in, dig the game out by grabbing it by the scruff of the neck, versus those that just drop their shoulders. And you have some many talented players that just drop their shoulders. And you see it too often for me with Marcus Rashford and his body language. And you see it way too often for me with Luke Shaw as well. That's my point when I say that they're not, my blame goes on the players, because we're going through a bad patch, and these players, man, they don't have the mental strength to get us through it. That's the angle I'm coming from. So that's me describing what I mean by what I always say out there, you know?
Yeah, no, I get that. Like I said, and you know, I have to say, I suppose with the Fergie teams, it took him time to get those team together. But
yeah,
you just don't know whether, you know, these players like Marcus Rashford, you know, is he a David Bellion, is he Bebe? or is he a Nani? And when I say Nani, I mean, Nani was great under the Fergie regime. But as soon as he left, under Moyes and Louis van Gaal as well, he wasn't greatest. Then obviously, then he went on to Sporting, and then he never went on to go and go to a bigger club or on the same level as Manchester United. And I don't think many players actually have who have left us. So is it the player themselves or is it the system? That's what I'm always tuning from.
What you just said there, Hops, comes back to football heritage. When Jose said it, look at the players who've left Man United. See where they are. Are they playing? Are they still? For example, we talked about David De Gea a minute ago. We are in October and he's still not got a contract. Do you know what I mean? So what does that tell you? And
yeah, you know what? That comes
several other examples.
Yeah, that comes back to where I 100% agree with what Harp says. That stuff's not going to change until our ownership does, because that's the people running the club. And you're right, look, a lot of this trickles down from the top. But you know what? Can I mention one thing, honestly, boys? When Ferguson's last 5-6 seasons, yeah, the Glazers were there. Those problems were there. But those players had the mental strength on game day to even go and win a bloody Champions League. A season where we should have won another treble, by the way. We were robbed by Portsmouth, right? But that season was very much a few years into Glazers, right? Or a year or two into Glazers ownership. That season very much was, right, Afsal? So that team still performed. And after that Champions League, I think we won another 3 or 4 championships after that, right? So that team kept winning because the players knew that when you're stepping on that pitch, nothing else matters. You're representing that badge on your chest. You're representing those colours. Your job is to play football. Forget the noise. And that's where you have to have that mental strength to be able to do that. And these players don't. They just don't, for me. So I agree. I'm 100% aligned that it's, in my opinion, it's 100% Ten Hag in. It doesn't matter who the manager was this time, I would be manager in. But more so Ten Hag, I'm definitely Ten Hag in. For once, the club has to prove, and it'll only be once Qatar complete the deal and take over, that, you know what, fuck you boys. The manager and the club is much bigger than any of you individuals. And they put that foot down and they show that. And then that starts to shit them up and resonate through the squad, change mentality, change ways of thinking, change culture. Some of these players, you can change that thinking and culture, but they won't be able to adapt to it because they're weak mentally. So we are going to have a whole new squad at some point, pretty much, in my opinion, because, these two ain't it, man. And they're just 2 examples. Our defense is completely shattered, right? You got Martinez out, and when Varane's like a flipping, he's a crystal glass, isn't he? Right? So
he reminds me of Darren Anderton, sick note.
Mm.
Remember Darren Anderton, Spurs?
Yeah.
Also, you probably won't use it. It's probably still in your nappies by then.
I was gonna liken him to Eric Bailly, bro.
No. Darren Anderson was actually a good player, so I was Rafa Varane. I'm not comparing the talents because Varane's Varane, Champions League Varane. But you're right. There's no, and this is what frustrates me, about these people talking about Ten Hag out. How obvious was it in the summer that he wanted other defenders? He knew what was happening with Rafa Varane. How could he possibly, like I says, he wanted Maguire out, and he didn't ideally want to sign Johnny Evans, and he signed him on the last day of the transfer window. He just wasn't given the players that he wanted. And Amrabat, even I think he's come out with an interview as well. He had to be patient. He wasn't even training with Fiorentina, who's out of their team squad. I think it was mid-July, early August.
Yeah, we got him about 6 weeks after I assume 6 weeks after we initially wanted him.
And kind of agreed a deal. So there's just so much goes on above that I don't think people see, and that's why I implore people to go and watch the documentaries like the Newcastle one, be it the Beckham one, even the likes of the Arsenal one. See what happens behind the scenes, and it's more than just what happens on the pitch that day. There's a culmination of things that will happen behind the scenes that then will present itself on the pitch. Also, I think you had a question.
Yeah, well, I've got a question for Riz, but I've also got something to share with you there as well. So you mentioned documentaries. Has anyone watched the All or Nothing for Germany?
No, I
Around
don't
the
do these
Qatari
all or
World Cup.
nothings.
No, when did the German one come out?
It's been out recently. I've not watched it all, but I saw something that was someone posted on Twitter, and it was like, it shows what happens when your focus is elsewhere. Obviously, in reference to the fact that the Germans had the whole protest before games where they covered their mouths and all this sort of stuff going on.
Oh, so it was during the Qatar World Cup.
Yeah,
that's their All or Nothing. Okay.
Yeah, and it was like, and even that's quite telling of obviously what's going on within that camp, what the narrative is, and it just shows how that reflected on the pitch. Now, not that Man United are doing anything like that, but we don't even I don't even think the Glazers know what day it is. Do you know what I mean? So
you got the one guy bloody. When normally when you have dogs, you're meant to walk them.
He's taking it in a pram. What?
I don't know how healthy that can be for the dog. Do you know what I mean? Just that dog's meant to walk. They need with walks, but my man's taking them in a pram.
Do you reckon he saved that from one of his kids? He thought, you know what, this is a good pram. We'll keep it. We'll walk the dog in it. Do you reckon he did that?
God knows, man.
But getting on to my question, Riz. Obviously, we are all Ten Hag in. I assume. I know Harps is. I know Aki is. Well, yeah, we're all Ten Hag in.
I don't know about Aki. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I'm never too sure about Aki, man. No.
Wow. No, I'm Ten Hag. I'm Ten Hag in.
I'm Ten Hag in, but there you go. Carry on, Afsa.
Okay, so I'm Ten Hag in, but you have to question him sometimes.
See, I told you.
No, that's a fair opinion. That's a fair.
No. Look, I'll be 100%. You can criticize the manager, of course.
Yeah,
you can.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean?
Look, there was many times I criticised Fergie. Didn't mean that.
And look at the 6-1 loss against Man City.
Yeah, exactly.
Even the Porto loss against Jose Mourinho's Porto, that should never have happened. Dortmund, we lost to him. There's so many things have happened in the past.
The only question mark that I have about Ten Hag, not question mark, the only concern I have, and the only time I've criticised him, I would say, is, like I mentioned in the last podcast, why play Marcus Rashford when the whole world can see that guy just does not track back and work hard enough? With the game against Crystal Palace in the Cup, just a few days earlier, you saw how hard that player worked. You saw how involved he was. He scored a goal, right? You saw how good he was going forward, and you saw how good he was coming back, and you saw that clip where he fell on his arse. Yeah, lost the ball. Where Rashford would have stayed on his ass, and this kid just got up and he ran all the way back to the halfway line and he got that ball back, right? You saw that. 3 days later, you dropped that and you played a lazy ass. That's my question mark on him. That I just I could not get my head around why he did that. I just can't, because I wouldn't have.
And to be fair, I think what you're also now seeing as well him doing, and again, like I said, you never know why he starts players, and I think he's an intelligent and good enough manager to understand that he needs to put players that are winning, irrespective of what names they are. But he has been taking him out.
Are the contractual obligations?
I don't know exactly, but what you have been noticing, though, I was going to say, is he has been taking him off more as well, earlier as well.
Yeah.
Before he'd leave him on. In the last few games, he has been taking him off. Go on. I'm sorry, we just totally hijacked your question, man. My apologies. Go on, you was going to ask.
Nah, it's all good. We got sidetracked with All or Nothing and organisational structures, but it is what it is. Haraami United, unedited, unfiltered.
And Aki's doing the job of Tej today. Go on, sorry.
Yeah, well, I was actually going to ask the Tej question, and this is at Riz, because we asked Tej, if Ten Hag was hypothetically to be sacked, who would you want? and we ran down the list of Flick, all them lot, all them available managers, and Ted said Zidane, and we all rinsed him.
I'd rinse him as well if I heard that.
Okay, that's all I wanted to ask.
I think that's why he never come on today. I think, yeah,
because he was like, Zidane's an elite coach. Listen to how Cruz talks about him, and I'm like, you're comparing Cruz to McTominay. Like, it's not the same ballpark.
Look,
but
I really hope Ten Hag doesn't go, because that would just be recycling. But hypothetically speaking, if he was to, I'd be pissed off first, and I wouldn't care who the manager is, to be frank, at that time. But thinking with a cool head in a hypothetical situation, I'd go for Ruben Amorim.
I've mentioned him. Now, the Sporting Lisbon manager, exactly. But I'll be honest with you, from the little I've seen of him, he seems to me to be more of a progressive Jose Mourinho style. When I say that, I mean he's not a Pep, where he's going to be proactive. Yeah. He's more like counter-attacking kind of thing. I think, like I said, he's not quite as bad as what Jose is, but I think he's of that makeup. Now, don't get me wrong. I know the foundations of Manchester United have been that, but yeah. I also don't believe what Gary Neville said as well. Is, Manchester United have got a certain identity. It's on the flanks. It's attacking football, counter-attacking football. I don't believe that. That just happens to be the philosophy that we had. The manager that we had done that.
And on top of that, the game has changed. Those flanks and those wingers have now become inside forwards. They all cut inside. They cut across. They 1-2. And then you've got your fullbacks bombing on.
So which manager would you take then, Habs?
I wouldn't take any manager at the moment in time. I'm answering that question, and the reason why I'm answering that question is because before you sack Erik ten Hag, you've got to question what's his name, John Murtough.
Yeah,
Murtough, in terms of what is the style, because don't forget he's the director of what is the style he is implementing at Manchester United. Because the problem that we had after David Moyes, you could say he was a similar manager that was meant to be like Alex Ferguson. I don't think he was, but he was obviously a lot more conservative. But then once you went from him, you then went from like a defensive coach. You then went to a proactive coach in Louis van Gaal. He brings all these players in, and I don't care what anybody says. I went to matches when he was there and I was falling asleep. However, I could see what he was trying to do, and the players, and I think I've said it. I don't know whether I've said it to you in a space or I've said it in here. He under his reign was the only time I ever went to Liverpool and I was confident that we'd win. I'm never, even under Fergie, I hardly ever felt that. It's just the way he used to play. Do you know what I mean?
I agree with that.
But I think even if it had been given another season or two, I think something would have come of it more. But then what do we go and do?
The problem there, though, go on, finish up, bro.
I was going to say, So what happened from there? Then we moved from a proactive, a possession-based manager who's proactive and use possession of the ball. We go totally opposite to a Jose Mourinho who doesn't want the ball. He just wants to be, 2 banks of 4, and then just his attacking players to make it up when they get there. Like, do you know what I mean? So we then sack him and go to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who's a bit more like counter-attacking. But then, so that's where we talk about mixed matches of players and managers and philosophies. Because then after, you could say Jose Mourinho and Ole had a kind of synergy, but even then, Ole in his 3rd season went from counter-attacking, wanted to be more proactive. Then his downfall come. Do you know what I mean? I don't see a continuation of a philosophy from the hierarchy down to the manager. So again, to answer your question, Aki, if I'm going to replace a manager, even if it's not Erik ten Hag, it has to be somebody of that same ilk. Like I said, Ruben Amorim, I don't know enough about, and he's a manager I actually do like. But before you do that, you're going to change your setup again.
You know, Louis van Gaal, yeah? I think if you remember Harps, he said that he was going to retire after one more season. I think that was part of the problem. If he hadn't said that, and if that wasn't his intention, I fully believe he would have stayed.
He continued on, didn't he?
Yeah, he managed Bayern Munich, didn't he? He managed Bayern Munich
beforehand, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And Bayern Munich, have a very strong partnership and sponsorship agreement with Siemens, right? The technology company. You know Siemens, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you know who Siemens bought in 2017?
Don't tell me it was a public limited company.
It was.
With a holdback clause.
It was a company called Mentor Graphics, yeah? So Mentor Graphics, it's a provider of electronic design automation software. It's publicly traded on NASDAQ. Siemens announced its intention to acquire 4.5 billion for the deal. As part of the transaction, certain funds were set aside in an escrow account. Sorry, did I say escrow account? Yeah, to secure potential indemnification obligations. Yeah, so this escrow is essentially a type of holdback to provide assurances against potential liabilities that might arise after the acquisition. Qatari are saying, we want some money held back. But again, there's riddle me this, riddle me that on Spaces, saying that you don't have this in public listed companies. Wish I had the time to go on Spaces during the day.
Do you want to say escrow again?
Escrow. Yeah, so Louis van Gaal just triggered my mind then. Louis van Gaal, oh shit, he was Bayern Munich. Oh shit. Siemens have since 2017 been sponsoring
I love how your brain works.
Oh shit. Siemens, they bought a company, right? Oh, what's the name of that company? Oh shit, it was Mentor Graphics. Oh shit, they were listed on the NASDAQ Stock Exchange. Oh shit, it was $4.5 billion. Oh shit. Do you know what? Some money was set aside in escrow to secure potential indemnification obligations. So whoever's been referring to any kind of, M&A lawyer, don't use them if you're doing an M&A yourself, mate. I'll give you wrong advice. And as for wiping me with the floor with me, I think there's enough examples I've just given that if I was on that space, I would have wiped the floor with the person that wanted to wipe the floor with me. There we go. Anyway, carry on. Louis van Gaal, you were saying.
Just before you continue, the Cricket World Cup is happening, and believe you me, that wasn't me bowling to you then for you to knock it for six. I did not set that up. I just want to clarify that to everybody. I didn't even know that was coming. None of us knew that was coming. So sorry.
As someone who's not that into cricket, I'm impressed with the reference.
Bro, I could go. Well, there'll be another episode. I could have done in cricket, but go on, carry on.
Yeah, so Louis van Gaal, you were saying.
Yeah, you're on Louis van Gaal.
You was on Louis van Gaal. I was saying. Yeah, he didn't hold back at all. And you were saying no, if he didn't have one more season, he said I think he said he's got one more season.
Do you know who else never held back?
Go on.
Ralph Rangnick.
Yeah.
He ripped him apart in the press.
Do you think he could come back again to do the job that he was meant to do under new ownership?
You know what? I think he can, but I think people would question that.
The fans would question it because he failed last time because they don't understand that being a manager and a director of football are two entirely different jobs.
But then again, they would say, obviously, he's walked away, but why would he come back in the first place? And obviously, not in the first place, but why would he come back if he's been sacked or whatever?
Which one of you boys went on holiday to Portugal?
Me.
Recently. Was it you, Harps? You went, was it Greece?
No. I went to Greece.
It was, I think it was Basim.
Did you stay at a Marriott?
Not this one, no.
Oh, that's a shame. They bought a company, hotel group, Starwood Hotels. Starwood, they're basically a leading hotel and leisure company, publicly traded. Marriott, another giant in hospitality industry, as you know, proposed an acquisition. During the acquisition process, Starwood identified a data security incident involving unauthorized access to their guest information. To address the potential liabilities from this data breach, a part of the merger consideration was placed in an escrow account. This served to potentially offset future liabilities that might arise from the incident. Publicly listed company. Anyway, sorry, I'm in holiday mode. I've been dreaming of going on holidays and staying at Marriott's. And when I thought I'm going to stay at Marriott's, I thought,
I just want to confirm for all the listeners, Riz does not have one of them teleprompters in front of him that's sliding up and down, and he has to keep up with the words. Just to confirm, yeah.
All I'm going to say is, I think you best send some material to Auntie G. I think.
And some tissues to these lot as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But boys, like I said, I think it's been a great episode today. I mean, like I says, I don't think there's anything new that we've had to say, but I think there's a lot of new things people have learned. I think M&A lawyers who've been asked these questions may need to resit their exams or start going back to school.
Go shadow Riz for a week.
I was going to say, if anybody wants to brush up on the skills, I'm sure Riz can direct them to the right people. Holdback. I don't think Holdback or escrow is being Googled any more than in his lifetime than it has over the last couple of days. And I think Riz has done a fantastic job of doing that.
Can I ask you guys the questions? How many examples has Riz given today in this episode?
Bro, I lost count.
No. Yeah, I think anybody who can guess that, how many examples you got it, please let us know on any of our socials, YouTube, Twitter, Rumble, Instagram, and obviously the others, And what we'll do, we'll get one of those digital prints printed out for you if you can guess it right. We'll pick somebody there, we'll get that digital print sorted out. They can print the print there, the colour shirt, what name they want on the back, and what number they want as well. So get in touch with us. Let us know, because I'll be honest with you, I've lost count. I'm not too sure how many there's been, but again, boys,
Riz, don't give the answer away.
Yeah, I've lost count.
And believe me, I'm just we're going to end the show now because I think Riz can continue, but like I said, I want Auntie G.
Who's used Oracle in their lifetime? The IT system.
I want Auntie G to go to sleep, man. Do you know what I mean? Because I think.
What time is it for her?
Have you heard NetSuite? NetSuite was basically it's a cloud-based business software, publicly traded before acquisition. Oracle, everyone's heard of Oracle. I think if you work with IT systems in some organization, they're big.
Yes.
Yeah, so Oracle bought NetSuite, in 2016. So as part of the acquisition agreement, certain funds were earmarked to be placed in an escrow account to address potential post-closing adjustments and indemnification obligations. Such escrow arrangements in mergers and acquisitions are akin to holdbacks. They provide a means to secure the funds that can be used to settle unforeseen liability adjustments. Public listed company, NetSuite, bought by Oracle.
Hobbs, wrap it up, bro. Wrap it up.
Again, people, get in touch and let us know how many examples it is, because none of us are going to get any more digital prints. I can tell you that much. But two things. I mean, last thing. I just want to put a shout out to we've been talking about Ralph Ragnick, Manpreet Sakaria, who made his debut for Austria today. He's a Punjabi of Sikh descent, from Punjab. Again, fits in with what this channel is all about. We will talk breaking down the barriers, and as a channel, we're so proud of him there. So well done, Manpreet, and hopefully he'll open doors for many other opponent to come through as well. But
well done, buddy. Well done.
Certainly, but again, finally, like I said, we're bringing the show to an end. Now,
One last point for our listeners.
Go on, Riz.
Who got the vaccine done, the COVID vaccine?
Yeah, not another one.
No. Kite Pharma. Yeah, Kite Pharma.
Are you going to talk about Pfizer or Moderna now?
No. It's basically a biopharmaceutical company. Kite Pharma is focused on developing, innovative cancer immunotherapies, that kind of stuff for cancer. They were, once upon a time, they were publicly traded on Nasdaq. Gilead Sciences, another biopharmaceutical company, wanted to buy Kite Pharma. While the primary deal was quite straightforward, there was considerations for future payments to Kite Pharma shareholders based on achievements of certain regulatory milestones. These milestone payments can be seen as type of holdback, where part of the consideration of the acquisition is contingent upon future events achieved. There's another example. I'll give you 5 more, right? But get a new M&A lawyer, because that M&A lawyer knows jack shit. Yeah, I get it. By the way, to be frank, I'm getting my information from ICD, Investment Corporation of Dubai. Look them up if you don't know them. This is their bread and butter. Of course, you can have a holdback. You might not officially be the holdback, might not be the phrase, but you're holding back money in an escrow until certain conditions have been met. That, let me clarify once more, is where the problem is lying right now, which is the value of that holdback. Number of examples I've just given you now where it has been done. So don't buy this bullshit notion that it cannot be done in listed companies. Go and Google those that I've just given you right now. And if you want for good measure, what we'll also do is we'll also tweet these names out tomorrow. Yeah, after the podcast, after you listen to the podcast, a day or two later, we'll tweet these names out with specific examples.
Yeah, we need them to guess how many examples first before we tweet them all out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I says, I am going to wrap it up because I think we've somebody's triggered Riz, man, and it's never a good thing to do that, man. So, but again, like I says, believe it or not, this show, as we said, it's helping people. We're just trying to inform people, educate people there as well. If there's any questions, we always say get in touch with us, and we enjoy the feedback. But again, as I say, this show is, in the essence, been discussion of power of unity, especially in the world rife of divisions, and it is just sickening on what's happening there. And we will sign off, and we will say we do stand with Palestine, and hopefully everything gets resolved.